Hey everyone! Okay, 5-minute wrist warm up. I get a lot of you guys asking me how to avoid wrist pain, so you get a lot of tension in the wrists. And I just thought it was something to go over some tips and a little warm up, especially if you're a pole dancer. Girl, you need to be warming up those wrists, honey. Like, I feel like it's a little overlooked, but like the wrists are super important. Or if you're a modern dancer doing a lot of floor work, or you're doing partner or anything, like these wrists take a lot, and it's good to just know how to warm them up and how to keep your wrist mobility really healthy. So one tip is that if you're getting pain while you're practicing yoga, maybe take a look at where you're practicing. If your mat is really thick, or say you're practicing on like carpet or something that's kind of very cushiony, it might seem like, oh, it's like softer, that should help, right? But it could be, you know, if you're on something really soft, more of your weight might be sinking into your wrists, and it might kind of stop you from being able to have the weight of everything throughout your whole hand. Does that make sense? So just take a look at that. Another tip, if you are in plank and you're like hanging out here really far forward, see if maybe you can shift your weight back so that your shoulders are stacked above your wrists, you know, and so some of the weight is in your legs too, glutes and core are on, instead of like shifting way forward here, dropping your glutes, because that puts a lot more strain on the wrists. Time for that wrist warm up. First thing, take one elbow in towards the side, palm facing up, holding onto your wrist. So we want to stop and make sure that our wrist isn't moving at all, or that our forearm isn't moving at all, and that all of the motion is coming from the wrist. You're just going to begin to circle, keeping all your fingers together so they're not doing anything. Just try to circle so we're holding the forearm still. Practicing our wrist mobility here. Circling both directions, and you might find when you can't use your fingers or your forearm to move that it's a little more challenging to move. So this is a great way to warm up all the little muscles of the wrist and just work on your wrist strength and wrist mobility. So you might find after doing this for a couple minutes, your wrists are like, whew, feeling a little bit of a burn. And then take the other side, just circling, keeping that forearm really still, relaxing the shoulders, fingers together. Really try to have the movement come from the wrist rather than trying to circle the fingers. Other direction. Let's say do that for at least like 15 seconds in both directions. All right, and then taking a lotus mudra, thumbs and pinkies together, other fingertips spread out. I like to just do a circle. So you could just circle your wrists. I like to take lotus mudra just because I feel like it tunes me more into that yogic frequency, honoring what the lotus stands for, kind of blooming out of the mud, finding the light in the dark, rooting down, taking energy and support from the earth. So it's nice to kind of tune into that mindset before you practice. Going both directions. Or you can go up, circle down, round up, lotus to the sky, offering to the earth. Just a nice way to feel in balance of the give and take of the universe, giving back and receiving. Just doing that a few times. And then palms together, elbows together, and just going side to side here like this. So keeping the elbows together and then flexing the wrists back and forth is another nice way to warm them up. Get that flexion going, especially for yoga, doing stuff like plank and stuff. This is a good way to make sure they're a little more warm, a little more flexible. Boop, boop, boop. And then last thing is, say you're in tabletop, is just lifting up. So putting your weight throughout the whole hand, really activating through the fingers, and then lifting just the wrists up. So it gives your whole hand and forearms and wrists a little bit of a workout, just kind of rocking a little bit. Say do like 20 of those, and your forearms will be getting a little bit of a workout for sure. Just doing those few moves every day, and then really making sure that when you're in plank, when you're in tabletop, when you're in downward facing dog, that you are really plugging your fingertips into the floor. It's not just all in your hand and then your fingers can lift up. Like, you want them grounding down, like you want them to be pushing into the floor, whole hand active, and really distribute your weight throughout the whole hand. Also, I find that having a little bit of a bend in the elbows sometimes can help me more activate the muscles of my forearm. So it's just about activating the whole arm and hand to help you out, and it just might be a matter of building up the strength, especially if you have mostly just been doing ballet or jazz most of your life. The wrists don't get a lot of use. They're very like decorative almost. So you are gonna have to work that strength, but it's good to just make sure you're balanced and strong throughout your whole body. So I hope this helps, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope your wrists are feeling better. And yeah, here's the old tips for the day. Catch y'all next time.